Hi guys, Scott Whitwood with you to talk about the Penrith Panthers chances for 2012. They finished 12th last year. I'm not sure that they'll do much better this year. They have a new coach, a coach that I think is overrated. I thought, despite the fact he made the grand final last year with the Warriors, I think that he should have done a lot better than what he did during his time at the Warriors, given that he had an entire country to choose from. And some of the key areas that I thought the Warriors needed to improve in, they just never improved while he was in charge. So, look, I don't see things getting much better at the Panthers. I think they've lost a lot of good players, and I can't see any of the good players that they've got back. The biggest thing that they've got going for them is some of their talented, classy players will be not have the injuries that they had last year, and maybe if they can keep them on the field, they will do a little bit better than what they did last year. But look, I was very disappointed in their attack last year, given some of the players that they had. They only finished 14th for tries scored. That's just deplorable. 14th for tries scored. They finished 14th for line breaks. They were incapable of making line breaks. And when you look at some of the talent that they have on their list, you can't conceive that they couldn't make line breaks. So that's a big problem in their 6 and 7 for mine, and I'm sure that's an area that the coach and the general manager will be looking to fix up. An area that they did very well in last year, they were number one for offloads made. They were offload happy. Now, a lot of the good coaches like Bellamy and Bennett aren't that big on forwards making offloads, because when you make an offload, you tend to make a mistake, and it tends to cause you more problems than what it does good. And that was the case with the Panthers last year. They were number one for making offloads, but they finished 14th for errors made. So consequently, all the good work they did was all thrown down the drain when they dropped the ball or knock it on or do something silly. And they just didn't have any discipline in their side. They had poor talking, they had poor structure, and that's an area where they can certainly improve along in 2012. I think one of the biggest challenges for the coach is who he chooses at fullback and who he chooses at second receiver, and will carry that number 6 position. It will be between Lachlan Coote and Michael Gordon. They're two outstanding young players, two of the best young players in the NRL. There's no doubt about that. They wouldn't be out of place in any representative team. I would have Lachlan Coote as my number 1, simply because I think he works better with the halfback Luke Walsh. Luke Walsh is an outstanding taker of bombs, and I think he combines very well with Luke Walsh when he comes through and takes the bombs. And at one stage, 50% of their tries were coming from Walsh, Coote, bombs and tries, and I wouldn't want to take that away from the side, because it's a big attacking weapon that they've got, and I think he can do that better at fullback than what he can if he's playing in the halves. Michael Gordon has a junior history of playing at 5'8", and I think the way that he plays, I think he can accustom himself to being second receiver. He's a big, strong guy who can bust tackles and can get the ball away, and very, very fast, and can set players up. And I think he will be very, very dangerous if his halfback Luke Walsh can form a combination with him. That's the way that I'd be going. Very interested to see what the coaching staff do there. As far as their wingers are concerned, I would think Sandor Earl or Jeff Daniela. Thank you. Jeff Daniela or Sandor Earl. They would probably be my choices for wingers. But, you know, both ordinary guys like Andrew Palacio, Matthew Moylan will be in contention. Uasali will be in contention. They've re-signed David Simmons. I don't know why. These guys will be in contention for the win. So they've got a little bit of depth there in terms of numbers, but they haven't got any names there that I go, oh, wow, he's a good winger. Doesn't excite me that much. In the centres, they have a gun, Michael Jennings. They need to get much more ball to him, and that's an area where Michael Gordon might be able to help. It just didn't happen last year. That number 6 position will be in contention with Harry Sajika. He'll be a contender, and obviously last year's number 6, Travis Burns, who was more of a defender, and he's not the sort of guy who will set up his outside backs, and that was one of the areas that was lacking poorly last year. I'll be surprised if they play Travis Burns at number 6 again, particularly with guys like Michael Gordon available to them. So interesting to see there. The other centre position, I think, would be Junior Vaivai and Brad Tighe. They will be in contention for those positions. I have a high regard for Junior Vaivai. I think he has a very good future. I think he'll continue to get better and better, and I think he'll do very well playing playing with Michael Jennings. Two very, very good centres, in my opinion. Look, Luke Walsh looks like he will be the halfback. He's not a world beater, Luke Walsh, but he's a genuine halfback, and he's an organiser, and he's a talker, and he has a super tactical kicking game, and we can't say that about a lot of halfbacks. I think he will do the little short drop feather kick, and he'll do the high bomb very well. And we've already talked about how Lachlan Coote loves catching that ball in the air and scoring tries. Look, they're not badly served in the forwards. They, of course, have lost Seven Asiva, but they've got Tim Grant and Sam McKendry as their two starting props, and I think they'll both serve them very well. Kevin Kingston and Sal Uini will be the two hookers. Both very good hookers. I think they'll do very well for them. Have no doubt about that. Look, the biggest weakness in this Penrith Panthers side to me is their back row. If you take away Luke Lewis, they don't have anything. Blake Austin is promising, and if he can make the grade, he will solve a lot of their problems. Remains to be seen. I want to see more of him. I think he did some good things last year, but want to see more of him. Blake Austin is a big opportunity for the Panthers to go well in 2012. Guys like Nathan Smith, Nigel Plum, there'll be other guys in contention for the position. But look, an area where the Panthers did poorly was some of their recruitment. They got a lot of journeymen for not a lot of money, and you just can't do that. We saw the problems that it caused the Storm last year when the big games come around. Guys like Clint Newton, Cameron Ciraldo, Danny Galea, Chris Arnett, Dane Weston, these guys are okay. They're journeyman players. They'll fill a hole. They'll do a job for them, but they're not going to scare anybody, and they're not going to win the games for you. And really, that is a big problem. So we're talking about an ordinary starting back row for the Panthers, with the exception of Luke Lewis, and we're talking about a very ordinary bench. I've just rattled off some of the names. Brendan Gibb shows some promise. Varusi shows some promise. Ryan Simpkins, he shows some promise. They're guys that they'll be counting on to come through. But really, I look at their list, and it's not an inspiring list on the bench, and it's not an inspiring forward pack. A lot of the hopes for this Panthers side is going to come around between Lachlan Coote, Michael Gordon, Michael Jennings, guys like that, and it's going to be up to Luke Walsh to get them moving, and it's going to be up to Grant and McKendry to give them some go forward so that they can get that moving. But look, it's very much a transitional year for the Penrith Panthers as far as I'm concerned. I can't see them making the 8, and I think they'll finish closer to last than finished first. So for me, I think they finished about 12th last year. I think they'll be around about that mark again this year. Don't like them at any stage this year, the Penrith Panthers. Good luck.